Right now, we are still counting votes. Right now, the elections are up for grabs. Right now, there is a potential path to victory for either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And in the midst of this, it's a confusing situation. It may be one that drags on for days or even for weeks, depending on what legal disputes there are and what charges of fraud there are and what goes to the courts. This may go on for some time. I want to do my best to look at the big issues with you, to figure out what we know now, what we can say, looking at the larger election process and many of the votes that were cast, not just for president, but for other offices. And above all, I want to bring you a spiritual perspective. That's why I'm here, friends. I'm not just another conservative talking head. I am Bible-based in everything that I do, in my thinking. Everything begins with the worship of God. And from that perspective, I speak to you. So for those who are upset, emotionally wrought, whichever side of the vote you're on, for those who are concerned that your man is losing, or you think it's not fair, or you don't like the way things are going, let's just step back first and get a little perspective here. Isaiah chapter 40, beginning in verse 21, says this: "Do you not know? Have you not heard? Have you not been told from the very first? Have you not discerned how the earth was founded? It is he who is enthroned above the vault of the earth, so that its inhabitants seem as grasshoppers, who spread out the skies like gauze, stretch them out like a tent to dwell in." Look at what it says. He brings rulers, potentates to naught, makes rulers of the earth as nothing. Hardly are they planted, hardly are they sown, hardly has their stem taken root in the earth, when he blows upon them and they dry up, and the storm bears them off like straw. To whom then, God says, can you liken me? To whom can I be compared, says the Holy One? Lift your eyes and see, who created these? He who sends out their hosts by count, who calls them each by name because of his great might and vast power. Not one fails to appear, speaking of the stars, etc. And then says this to Israel: Lama Tomar Yaakov, to Daber Israel. Why do you say, O Jacob? Why declare, O Israel? Nishtara darki me Adonai me Elohai mishpati. My way is hid from the Lord, my cause ignored by my God. Hello, Yadata, do you not know? Imlo Shamata, have you not heard? Elohei Olam Adonai Borei Kutzot Haaretz. The Lord is God from old, creator of the ends of the earth. Lo yi'af, lo yiga, ein cheker l'tvunato. He never grows faint or weary. His wisdom cannot be fathomed. He gives strength to the weary, fresh vigor to the spent. Youths may grow faint and weary, and young men stumble and fall. In this famous verse, many know it by heart. V'kovei Adonai yachlifu choach. But they who trust in the Lord shall renew their strength. Ya'alu ever kanasharim. As eagles grow new plumes, so they'll put forth wings like eagles. Yachutzu v'lo yiga'u. They'll run and not grow weary. Yachu v'lo yi'afu. They'll march and not grow faint. So I don't want to be hyper-spiritual here. I don't want to ignore what's happening in the world around us. I simply want to say, let's start with the perspective of the greatness of our God. Let me proclaim to you that regardless of the outcome of the elections, God remains God eternally. Regardless of the outcome of the elections, and this is especially relevant to every Christian, Jesus remains Lord. The Bible remains true. God's unshakable kingdom is continuing to advance with Republicans, with Democrats, without Republicans, without Democrats. That's my focus. That's the reality that I look to. Oh, I understand. The elections have massive consequences. Trust me, like many of you. I was up late last night. Well, I'm normally up late at night, but I was also up early in the morning, and just hard not to be looking at the latest breaking news and back and forth and this and that, and fully understandable. But let's get our perspective right. Let's step back and worship God as eternal God. And as big as this is to us right now in America, and we're getting reports of people around the world who were praying through the night and praying and fasting for the outcome of the elections in America, let's step back and ask, is my faith in God or not? Do I believe God or not? I, for one, am confident that God will bring about his plan, that ultimately He will bring about his plan in what will bring the best eternal results, the best good for the most people for the longest time. That is what God is working for. If we join with him, we won't be disappointed. So renew your strength in the Lord. This is a wearying time for everyone. Renew your strength in the Lord.